Just because pull-ups are a bodyweight exercise and you can jump on the bar at any time and start knocking out reps, especially if you have a door frame pull-up bar at home, that doesn't mean that your body doesn't need some prep work first. The reality is that doing pull-ups without warming up is like sitting basically on a lat-down machine at the gym and doing reps with 120% of your body weight, which is something like 190 pounds for the average guy. That being said, here are 10 warm-up exercises I consider a must before a pull-up workout. Exercise number 1 is the classic doorway chest and shoulder stretch. Basically, before doing more dynamic stuff, it's always a good idea to start by getting your body out of that slouched and tight position it usually likes to fall in by loosening up in a more open position. This is one that is, again, great for stretching the chest and the front deltoids, muscles that are typically tight and need stretching and will make you feel more comfortable when you're at that initial hanging position before doing a pull-up. If I'm training outdoors, I'll typically do a gymnastic ring version of this one, which is pretty similar. All you need to do is grab the rings, walk a few steps away from the anchoring point until your elbows extend. And this is the main difference. You basically, if you're doing this between a doorway, you can keep your elbows bent and gently lean forward with your palms facing away from each other and taking a step or two backwards if you want to increase the intensity. For both versions, what is important to remember is that you want to keep your chest open and avoid slouching forward. Next, I'll work on my cervical spine, especially if it's early in the morning. This is a sensitive area that you want to make sure that is warmed up well. And I'll start with a gentle roll back and forth. So you roll once back, you roll once forward. That is 1 repetition. And something that is key here is keeping your tongue on the roof of your mouth, especially when you're rolling backward. This will give you a greater stretch for the extensor muscles. And once I'm done with 10 of these, I'll do another 10 right and left turns. Again, start gently with these as well and slowly increase the range of motion. Next, we have the wrist flex and extend with a finger spread. I don't know how to name this one, but it's a great one for warming up the forearm flexors and extensors. And even though it looks more like a wrist prep exercise, it's actually great for the elbow as well, since these muscles extend all the way into the elbows, which can be an area that is quite prone to injury from pull-ups. So when you're flexing your wrists downward, make sure you get a good flex with those forearm muscles. And when you're extending your wrists and you're spreading your fingers, make sure you get a good, nice stretch there. Spread your fingers as far apart as you can. Next, we have shoulder backward rolls. You want to get some nice, big and slow rolls backward, bringing your shoulders basically close to your ears and back and away from them. This will also activate the shoulder blade area, which is highly active during pull-ups as well. After that, we have elbow screws. This is another favorite of mine since your arms are forced into a lot of external and internal rotation when you're doing pull-ups. This creates twisting forces between the wrists, the elbows, and the shoulders. Doing this exercise is a great way to prepare all these joints for the forces they are about to be facing. And it's great for pull-ups, but even greater for chin-ups, where you have even more of these twisting forces. This is an exercise that is easier to do when you're in a quadruped position on the floor. But if you're not at home, if you don't have a mattress and you're outdoors, you can also do these on a bench or an elevated surface. The key here is twisting your elbows in and out simultaneously without though bending them. So you want to keep them extended at all times. This can be confusing at first since most people will automatically bend their elbows, but you'll slowly get used to it. Our next exercise are straight elbow push-ups. This is another great one to warm up the shoulder blade area. So from a straight elbow plank, you want to push your torso away from the floor by protracting your shoulder blades, so bringing them away from each other in simple words. And next, you want to lower your chest towards the floor again, this time though by retracting your shoulder blades. So bring them together. That is one repetition. Movement should always be produced through the shoulder blades while you're doing this exercise without hunching your shoulders at any point. And a good cue is to keep your shoulders once again away from the ears. After that, we have what I call candy wrappers. These are also known as Egyptians. This movement resembles a bit of the unwrapping of a candy, which is why I also call them this way. And it's probably my favorite shoulder mobility drill. To get started, you just need to stand up straight and extend your arms away from the body. Turn one palm up, so this is external shoulder rotation, and at the same time, turn the other palm back. This is internal shoulder rotation, and reverse the opposite way. Again, that is one repetition. I recommend in total 15 to 20 reps, but the more you can do, the merrier. Moving on, we have shoulder dislocations. I like to do these with a band or anything that has some elasticity. So if you don't have, professional resistance bands, don't worry, you can also use something like an old bicycle inner tube. Start by holding the band about twice as wide as your shoulder width in front of you. Raise your arms up overhead, being careful not to allow your shoulders to shrug upwards. Bring the band all the way backwards, always making sure that there's enough slack for you to do the movement without overstressing the shoulders. And bring the band again forward in the same way. I recommend 10 to 15 of these repetitions. As you warm up more, so as you do more and more repetitions, you can also slowly try to decrease the width of the grip on the band, assuming that you continue to feel comfortable. For our 10th warm-up exercise, we'll be moving from a passive dead hang to an active dead hang and back. That is one repetition. I like to call these straight elbow pull-ups since when you're performing them, the body moves up and down while your elbows remain straight. And this is the crucial part. So to accomplish this, you want to slightly retract your shoulder blades and depress them. So pull them back and down, pointing your chest a bit upwards as your body rises, and always moving smoothly and slowly, especially on the way back down. Finally, we have two more warm-up drills. These ones are especially recommended for people above 30, when our joints start to get more and more sensitive. The first one are tricep extensions with a band. You can also do tricep push-ups if you don't have a band. I'll include, a lot more detailed tutorials of all of these exercises below in case you are not familiar with any. But, as we said previously, elbows are a common joint that tends to be sensitive to pull-ups. Therefore, adding some extra work to fully warm up this joint is a good idea. Get a band that allows you to do high reps, anything between 15 and 20 is a good number. And try to do at least one set per arm. I like to do 2 sets in total for each arm. Finally, our last warm-up exercise are band-assisted pull-ups. I recommend 1 to, even better, 2 of these and focusing on a rep range between 8 and 12 repetitions. The key to any really good warm-up is progressing as gradually into the exercise as possible with more and more specificity. So it doesn't matter how advanced you are, how many pull-ups you can do. Adding some band-assisted easy sets before your main sets will make a big difference, not only for keeping your joints healthy, but also for helping you perform even better afterwards. If you've never done this in the past, give it a try. You might surprise yourself with getting some extra reps afterwards, as long as you get enough rest between these sets. That was all for today. If you're new here, Bodyweight Muscle is a calisthenics approach to fitness that focuses on the basics. You'll find zero fluff here. It's all about keeping things simple, practical, and effective. So once again, if you're new here, subscribe, click on the notification bell. If you have any questions about today's video, make sure you leave them below. I always do my best to get back to every single one of you. And until next time, keep on training.